we're gonna be inclined to do
I'm
something.
interested in understanding what the numbers are and how they're gonna arrive at the amount first.
I need to see that first.
You know, if in fact we're just using whatever formula they have and the number that we had a couple of years ago in North Reading.
We should go back to that formula.
That was the what?
We should go back to that formula. That was a good formula.
A little off, but it was good.
Well, but I mean, it may be, you know, the way they distribute things is based on information that they have, and that's, if some of the local restaurants, the main centers are registered in North Reading, maybe we'll benefit from it, who knows? Yes, sir.
The only bit of unknown other than the meals tax and the hotel tax going forward would be the telecommunications tax. As part of the fiscal 2010 state budget that was approved, they closed the loophole on the large telecommunications providers that don't pay taxes on the infrastructure you see throughout town. And we're awaiting the assessors to get us some updated information in terms of potential revenue gain that we may have to that. That's again one of those items that got passed through the legislature and passed on to the town. It's not local option. So what it means is once it's assessed, then it needs to be paid. You recall when this was brought up before, a number of these items were under appeal. And from what I was led to believe is that the state budget that went through slammed that door shut. So that those appeal options, as a result of new laws being passed, effective July 1, 2009, those revenues potentially can be gained for the town going forward. And again, we
That money that's been within the old
That-
overlay stays there.
that money that money we cannot spend, but going
Till
forward.
the cases are settled.
Going forward, any new taxes that are levied on these telecommunications companies potentially is a revenue source that we could gain. I'm sure that the telecommunications tax companies would be reluctant to provide it with that, but the law says that's what it is.
Do we have, do the assessors have a benchmark to use?
Yeah.
I mean, how are they arriving at these? I just want to make sure that North Reading's maximizing, the revenue potential from that piece of legislation, where other communities might be doing something differently, or is there some sort of consistency across the board that's being applied, whether it be through the state, DPU, or?
Department of Revenue establishes the number. Matter of fact, if you search online, you can find a total valuation of all telecommunications property in North Reading and every other city and town in the state. It's out there. It's all public information. The question is, when there weren't taxes being collected from that, it maybe was a number that was kind of good enough, as I call it. Now that it's going to be used as a basis for taxation, it causes the DOR who does this valuation to go back and take a closer look at that, and they also will owe us some information. We can make some assumptions based upon the valuations that are out that are public documents right now. We just don't know whether those are necessarily accurate for 2010. We just don't know right now.
So basically, what this implies is that a home valued in North Reading at $500,000 might be valued, that same home in another community at $600,000 or $400,000. In the case of the telecommunications, it's going to be a standardized assessment across the state.
No, apparently they have to report their the value of their property to either the DPU or the DOR on an annual basis. So through their tax filings, these companies are required to show what they have for value of property in North Reading, and they've done that, and that's where it gets
So
aggregated.
they're using what the company has stated.
Is there a process whereby the town can say, like it's that property on Central Street, it's, looks like a single-family home, just about 2 doors up on Central Street off of 62. I mean, if that were a home, it would be assessed for $350,000, $400,000. I don't know what they put for a value on it, but.
Seems to me, using their books, might not miss as well.
No, and again, are they using depreciated value, are they using fair market value? And again, being able to operate their business out of there enhances the value of that property for them. And, what part of the infrastructure is there? So, but the land value doesn't change, it's still a buildable lot, $250,000 there. So I don't know what process our assessors are going to go through or can go through to ensure that the values that the utilities are putting on the property and the state's accepting, is there any appeal process? If I look, John say, I just think we need to make sure that that's researched thoroughly, so that if we're gonna fight the battle, let's fight it early. We blaze the trail, because we have a couple of structures in town that have some substantive value.
Any other 2009 revenue items, questions? Will we have basically the year fully closed?
Beginning of August, the last piece that comes in is the bank interest earnings, and it's based upon the bank statements coming out with the treasurer that show the reflection. So what we can do is we'll be getting partial picture within the next week or so in terms of where we are, but we won't fully be closed until those bank statements come in in the beginning of August, and then get this full picture there.
Meeting schedule.
No, there's one more in July, we don't have the other until August.
July. It's Tuesday, the 28th.
That's correct.
So we won't potentially have that.
I think we'll have, other than investment earnings, we'll have a good idea for that meeting. We'll know our real estate collections in totality at that point. We'll have a good idea with our major local receipt items, how well we've done, especially with regard to motor vehicle excise tax, tax title, fee revenue that we require.
And we do have a plan to get free cash certified, whatever,
Oh, certainly.
for October time.
Certainly, we always use early September as a standard in terms of getting in the balance sheet into the Department of Revenue for certification. And as that process is undertaken by the accountant, I'll be in touch with you, Mr. Chairman, before we do those things.
Anything else on this? Town administrator's report, I guess you might as well just continue.
Let me go off page just for a second, because there are a couple of things that happened. Some good news. I had reported to you a few weeks ago about a meeting that you, Mr. Chairman, and I had with Peter Milano from Mass Office of Business Development. He would like to come in and meet with the board at the next meeting, so if you would allow him to come in, he'd like to give you an overview on the tax increment financing program that's available, and provide you with some information on how they may be assistance to the town to increase its local tax revenues. So I have it down for the 28th, if that's okay with the board. Okay with you?
Yeah, right, sure.
That's great. The other thing that I became aware of on my way in today was, about 2 weeks ago, we received notice from Representative Jones's office about a federal fire station renovation grant program. That was federal stimulus money, but it was being done on a competitive basis. And the main thrust of the program was energy efficiency, conservation, those types of things. And it worked very nicely with the fact that the town has done an energy out of all of its buildings. Just within the last month, we received that report. And one of the major buildings that was done was the fire station. And they identified about $250,000 in improvements that we could do. So Chief Harris has put together a grant application which he will be submitting for $234,500 for various energy improvements, and that would include new windows throughout the facility, new garage doors, a new boiler system, some energy efficient lighting and temperature controls throughout the building, and new exterior doors throughout the building. The project doesn't require a local match, so if it's received, it's 100% to the town. And I just wanted to report to the board, I think the last time it was reported was something that we're gonna be looking into. The timeframe that we had to react was fairly short, and I wanted to give congratulations to Chief Harris and his staff for putting that document together. I don't have it yet, and as soon as I do, I'll share it with you, but those are the major portions of the project were related to energy efficiency, and all of the potential savings and the costs were all outlined in this audit, so they're actually the numbers that we had, that there was some reliability associated with them.
I had gone through all of those building reports, and in fact, I had, since Jeff is the liaison to the town energy committee, I'd asked him to see if we could keep that up a little bit. I was looking for projects that had returns in a one-year time frame that we could maybe find a way of funding from that stabilization of something such that we could then put whatever money we took out to make that savings back in, plus my thought was plus 10%, so we could help grow the fund. And perhaps there's, based on going through that, appears to be some opportunities. Now, if there's grant money that tomorrow comes available for town halls, then obviously we ought to jump right on that bandwagon. But, I thought after I went through them, and they covered all the buildings in town, that we ought to be doing, I know this group is focused on town hall, but we ought to take a look at some of the other buildings and be prepared to take advantage of some real meaningful savings that might have very short payback periods.
I think that forms an excellent basis for our capital improvement program for October.
Right.
I'll go back to script now if you'd like to go to the yellow sheet. Attached to my report is a memo and some statistical information provided by the chief of police on the motorcycle unit, which you'll recall was approved last July, right around this date from last week. The report is a statistical summary of all of the activities undertaken by the motorcycle unit over the last year, and includes number of citations, warnings, arrests, etc., that have been initiated through the motorcycle unit. You'll see the chief has made reference to several specific incidents involving the police department and the motorcycle unit played a major role in solving crime in the community. There's just one notation that the chief has indicated that the activity level had not been quite as high as he had hoped, and there's some reasons that he outlined in the letter associated with that. And then going forward, it would be his recommendation to the board, if you would consider it at any later date, it does not need to be considered this evening, continuing with one unit beginning in the spring of 2010. That's what his recommendation would be. So the lease on the second unit would be relinquished and would be returned back at that time to the manufacturer.
The obligation we had to lease was a 1-year lease.
2-year lease.
2 years.
They pay for it in advance.
2 years.
2 years in advance.
Giving one back.
After this.
Spring 2010.
Yeah.
Probably April.
I guess I missed that.
I think it was signed in April 08.
A couple months before, came before us, yeah.
Certainly review the reporting. If you have any questions, I can get back and speak with the chief about any questions that you may have, and ask them to respond directly to those, or they can be brought up at a later meeting if you want. Number 2 is a petition article which was received by the town clerk.